somebody and say, hey, I'm in trouble, so help me, or whatever. What? Where is
America has not been a good custodian of global power. If you really want to believe the Chinese oppression stories, America oppresses not only their own people, but the people of the world.
Welcome to SHILL Thursday. The SHILL Hunter has returned. That's right, after taking a month off and thinking about it, I've decided that I'm not going to stop making SHILL videos. None of you losers are safe. Now let's get to the damn video. Oh no, they won't give me any money. I've had the same address for 35 years and they won't send me a PIN number. You know what, Fernando? You're almost as bad as Nathan Rich though. You talk some shit about America and then you go on Twitter, another American website, and you beg them for money. You say, YouTube, I need my PIN number, I need money from you. I don't get it. If you guys hate America, you hate freedom of speech so much, why are you on YouTube? Why are you on Twitter? Why are you using my country's websites to try and make money? Why don't you go on your Colombian website? Why don't you go on your Chinese website, Bilibili? Oh, that's right, because you can't talk about the type of stuff on Bilibili that you do here. Get off my country's dick.
The main thing about this video is that this is a negative video about China. This is something negative that happened to me and my wife during our trip to Shanghai.
I'm glad that you're at least willing to admit that some things in China are a little messed up. He says negative. They're really negative, bro. They're screwed up. They are effed up. But at least we're getting a start.
In today's political climate, in today's news cycle and news climate, any negative story that comes out of China could become a big, major incident. So I didn't know if I wanted to feed oxygen to this fire that's already burning.
Wait a second. Are you implying that if you say something negative and it becomes popular enough that it could possibly be dangerous for you and your family? I mean, I thought that you had freedoms that Americans didn't, right? You said that in America, people are afraid, and then in China, no one is afraid. You said that was a freedom in China, right? I don't know, bro. Seems like you're a little scared to talk about China on the internet though, aren't you? That's right, because you know that they would put you in the gulag.
Because in the end, I understood why these situations were happening, and as frustrated and upset as I was, I understand it.
Uh-oh, here comes the giant excuse. Let me tell you the truth, okay? And then we will listen to his excuse, because that's what it's going to be. China teacher Fernando, who I've met in real life, owns an English training center in Dongguan. This guy has lived in China a long time, and has a Chinese wife, and you know, he's that hardworking, generally loves China. He's the perfect foreigner in China, yet he's afraid. He realizes that being critical of China is dangerous, right? And because he is an individual that pays taxes and gives China his everything, even though they care nothing for him, he is upset because China didn't give him the right to do something. And that right is essentially to, drive down the street that he wants in his little electric SUV. But let me tell you something, Fernando. Chinese people don't have rights, which means that you don't either, because you are below Chinese people, okay? But regardless, let's hear his petty excuse that he's gonna come up with.
even though it's a negative story, as long as I was able to present the justification for this, explain to people where the situation was coming from and the reasons for what happened, then people would probably understand and take it from what it is.
It's because you aren't Chinese. Duh.
All right, the first thing that happened is, as you can see here, I'm going to show you this video. I was exiting a highway, and as soon as I go through the toll, there's a police officer that stops me. There are other cars going by, other RVs going by. There's a bus that has been stopped, and the police are asking them questions. So the police decides to stop me. When he stopped me, he realized that I was a foreigner.
Ding, ding, ding! We have a winner! They stopped him because he was a foreigner. They didn't care about his car, his license plate. They didn't care about anything else. They cared about his face. They cared that he was a foreigner. That's what they cared about. Let's not make excuses here.
So he asked me for my passport and my driver's license, handed it to him, and then he took him to a little kiosk that he had, and they came back a minute later showing us a short message, an SMS. None of those WeChat things, but more like an SMS that had been sent just a couple of days, so a couple of weeks ago. That SMS basically said that foreigners were not allowed in this area anymore. I'm talking about Qinghai, yeah? There are some areas of Qinghai where from a couple of days earlier, foreigners were not allowed in anymore.
Foreigners aren't allowed? Wait a second. So you're saying that they picked you by your face and decided that you are not allowed to go to a certain place because of your skin color and your ethnicity. That's a horrible thing. I mean, why would a government like a Chinese communist country, why would they do such a horrible thing? I mean, you're a stand-up guy, right? You wouldn't do anything horrible. What's wrong with little Fernando hanging out in the Chinese desert? I mean, you're a way better person than I am. I'm a psychotic killer, right? You know, at least that's what you say. I wonder why they wouldn't let you enter. Oh, that's right, because it's China, and they're racist, and you're not Chinese. That's why. How many times do I have to say that before any of you people start getting it? You're not Chinese. You don't have any safety in China just because you say good things about China.
Well, my first thing was like, why? Why can't foreigners go in?
Because they are racist. They don't want you, a Latin American dude with a bunch of camera equipment going around making videos and taking pictures in sensitive areas. I find it hilarious that people like you don't get it. You're educated. You're supposed to be smarter than this. How come you don't see something so obvious? There is shit China doesn't want the world to see, and they don't want you going there, making a video, and putting it on the internet. I mean, it's like all these morons, like this Numuvez guy. What is his name? Numuvez guy that just goes around in Xinjiang, around malls and super popular areas, and he's like, oh, I don't see any re-education camps, so they're not real. They don't exist. They don't let you close to the things that they don't want you to see. Okay? Freaking obvious here, guys. Are you people really this dense? If you get close enough to these types of situations, they're gonna make you leave. And that's what they were doing.
I understand that there's a rule, and I'm a guest in this country, and if you tell me to leave, that I'm not allowed to go in, I'm not gonna go in.
What a horrible way to treat a guest. Usually you treat guests much better.
But here's the situation. So I started to explain to him what was happening with my car. At that time, I had only like 80 kilometers left of range in my battery. I had driven like 220, 250 kilometers already, and there were no chargers behind me. And as I said, I was at that stage where there are no more chargers on the road, So I was getting charged from the Neo card, the Neo Power, and they were waiting for me some, whatever, 30, 40, 50 kilometers ahead. He understood the situation, went back to talk to his boss, and came back with some information. And he said, like, okay, you guys are allowed to continue on this highway, but they had already asked us about our itinerary. They wanted to know where we were going to go. They told us, well, you can't go there. You need to leave this area as quickly as possible. So keep going straight, but stop going west. Start going north and east out of this area.
You could continue going in this direction, but no going west. You can only go north and east. What? You can't go west? I wonder why. Somebody's got a little secret.
Now, another couple of things happened from that moment on. From that moment on, pretty much every 2 hours, every 2-3 hours, we were receiving a phone call from the police asking where were we, had we arrived to where we were supposed to. They told us that we couldn't camp anymore, that we needed to stay at hotels, and they gave us a list of hotels where we could stay. So they were asking, have you arrived to the hotel, blah, blah, blah. Like really checking on us.
They were checking up on you. China, a communist country. Why would they do such a thing? Welcome to my world, Fernando. These things that people like me and Serpent ZA and Lawai86, all these people, you know, you hate us so much and you're like, oh, they're just lying. We've been talking about this for years and it has finally happened to you. And now you see what it is like. You see the truth. This isn't stuff that people are lying about. The CCP is literally watching you in China. Those cameras aren't there for decoration. They are watching you.
This is why we, from that point on, we were forced to stay at hotels, not camp. We had already left the area where the police didn't want us to be, right? But still, they were asking us to stay in hotels. So we were at a hotel that's designated for foreigners, so it's a bit of a higher level, and it's like a nicer area and whatnot. When we arrived there, there were, I don't know, 50, 100 people, Chinese people, camping. But I wasn't allowed to camp.
No camping? Oh my gosh, no camping? And you have to go to a list of hotels? Why do you need a list? I thought foreigners in China were free. I thought you had so much freedom in China. I thought that you could just, you know, stay at any hotel, anytime, without worry. I mean, I always thought, again, that people like Serpent ZA and me, we were just lying about this hotel thing, right? It's definitely not true. I mean, China would never deny me a hotel place, right? Never. I think it's funny because now you get to see it too. It happens all the time, bro. Welcome to the world.
I called my friend in the government. I asked him, hey, what do you think this is about? Why is this happening? Why are they giving us trouble? Is there anything you can do to help? He came back to me and said, like, look, this could be either safety or political, or a combination of both.
Friend in the government? Fernando. How do you do the accent? Fernando. You've got a friend in the government? You've got government connections? How could a person with government connections be treated so poorly? I thought that, you know, when you had connections within the government, you were just immune to any trouble that could ever happen to you in China. You see, that's the funny thing about you shills. You guys think that, well, I've got some friends in the government. I've been on CGTN. You are not immune, okay? You're not immune. You can get in trouble. It could still happen to you. And if war breaks out or something horrible, your little goofball boyfriend guy that's got some connection to the government can't protect you.
So he did some digging, some search, and he found out that a foreigner girl, young woman apparently, had passed away, had died in the area a couple of weeks before, sorry. The issue was that the media took the story and ran with it. It all of a sudden became a huge incident, a huge, even a diplomatic incident. It's dangerous. So as you can see, it was a combination of, yes, indeed, safety and at the same time, political.
Safety. He thinks that they made him turn around for safety. It's political, bro. It's always been political.
So what did the government do? They don't want this kind of issues. They don't want this kind of problems. It's not like there's thousands of foreigners going over there on tourism. So, hey, the 5 guys that want to come here, let it be known, you can't go into the area.
But why would people seeking the truth be an issue? I don't understand. I mean, what's wrong with the truth?
It's weird that this is not about camping, it's just about foreigners camping, because as you can see in this video here, for example, there were 2 girls riding around Shanghai in their motorcycles. I think one's a Harley, and just camping right next to the motorcycles. A pretty cool thing. So it was not about safety for Chinese people, it was safety, the concern for safety of foreigners. So appreciated.
You mean they don't want to have to answer for the atrocities that the Chinese government commits? Let's be honest here. Hella shit is dangerous in China for foreigners. Foreigners die all the time in China. I've known people that have died from like food poisoning, alcohol poisoning. People in China, foreigners die all the time, okay? And they're not doing anything to protect them. It's that the Chinese government doesn't want to lose face. It's about face. They don't want to have to go on television and explain.
And in front of the hotel, there was a street full of restaurants. There are like 20, 30 restaurants around the area from different parts, but mostly food from Shanghai, like lamb and barbecue. So we walked around and we saw one that had the most people, the most customers. So we were like, oh, this looks like a nice place. Let's go in there and see if we can eat there. So there were 2 guys barbecuing some mutton, some lamb. And I walked up to them and I said in Chinese, 喂，你好，这个羊肉串多少钱? The guy says, huh? I'm asking like, hey, how much are this lamb skewers? And he said, oh, they're this much. So I decided to make a joke, right? So like, hey, 如果我不要辣的，可不可以给我便宜一点? The guys started laughing. That basically means, if I don't want them spicy, can you give it cheaper to me? So they thought it was funny, ha ha ha. So, okay, that was kind of like the first interaction. And then my wife and I, we decided to walk into the restaurant. As soon as we were going in, the guy says like, this is Nalida. Where are you from? I'm like, I'm from Colombia. So the guy immediately said like, we will not serve you. There's no service for you. You can't eat here. We're like, what? What? And okay, the thing that bothered me the most about this was that the restaurant was packed of tourists. The restaurant was obviously not foreigners, but tons of Chinese people from different parts of China. I doubt that all these people were Muslims, because it seemed like the reason for not giving the service was that I didn't have a religion. I don't know.
Yeah, that was a long clip. I know, I'm sorry. But it's important because, you see, the difference is that they're Chinese and you are not, okay? Have you ever had your religion asked before? No, of course not. You even said that in the video. And the reason for that is because it doesn't matter. And everyone knows that most Chinese people have no real religion, except for the CCP that brainwashes them. Especially Chinese from outside of the area that you're in. Most Han Chinese people don't carry any religion. They might be spiritual, but they're not religious. And most of all, you said that there were tourists in your area, and I'm gonna assume those are probably Han Chinese people. So yeah, bro, you weren't picked up because of your religion, you were picked up because you're not Chinese.
So yeah, it felt very awkward. So I had a decision to make. Make a big fuss about it, call the tourism bureau, call the police, make a fuss, or turn around and go eat 20, 30 meters from there for the same price and the same food. That's what I did. That's what I chose to do. Now I think a little bit about what if I had actually called the police? What if I had escalated the situation? What if this had turned into some scuffle, some kind of brawl, and in the end it becomes another incident. It gets picked by the news, or something happens, right? Somebody gets a scar, somebody gets hurt, and it becomes another diplomatic incident. So that's why I said, like, look, it's not worth it. There's plenty of restaurants around here. It's not like it's the only place where I can eat. So that's why I chose not to escalate the situation. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think about my decision? Should I have done something else? I thought that the smarter thing to do was not to escalate the problem. So I went and had food somewhere else.
Very smart, because in the end, you're a foreigner, and raising a stink wouldn't have hurt them, only you, Fernando. And you would have caused yourself so many issues. There would have been so many problems. And see, the people that were already watching you, calling you on the phone, it would have just been reassurance to them. And they would have said, look, we knew it. We caught this foreigner, this horrible foreigner. And again, even though I disagree with you, Fernando, I'm happy that you were smart enough to not raise a stink and that you knew better than to take that risk. Because as much as I dislike most of you people, even Sexpat60, I don't want something bad to happen to him.
It's quite interesting to see that the media portrays Muslims in China as being oppressed, as being exploited, as being, you know, a minority that has no power. And here there was a couple of Muslim guys actually discriminating against me, a foreigner, a guy with no religion. So it doesn't actually fit the narrative that the West is trying to portray about Muslims in China.
No, see, you don't get it. Muslims in China are oppressed and exploited. They don't have people against the largely Chinese government. See, that's the difference. But there are levels to this game. Even though Muslims don't have power to control the government, you're lower than these people. You are lower than the Muslims in China. Do you know why? Because you're not even Chinese. Even though they're Muslim, they're still Chinese. They're still nationally Chinese from China. And you're even lower than them, which means that the Han Chinese people are going to exploit them, and they're going to exploit you. I want to end this video by saying, go check out Fernando's video. Even though he's a shill, even though he says a lot of dumb stuff, okay, his video does have some beautiful stuff in it. I'll link to his video down in the description. Go check it out. There are plenty of beautiful things in China, and you know, he does show it. So check it out. But to my viewers that are considering going to China, don't. And this video is the reason why. Because it's not just me and a few other guys. It's a lot of people that have experienced situations like this. Even pro-China people like Fernando, some guy that's brainwashed, has experienced something like this, okay? China doesn't want foreigners in certain places because they have secrets, okay? And racism in China is real, and it's very direct. It's very obvious. And there's just better countries you can go to. And, you know, Fernando, Mr. China Teacher Bland, has even expressed that even this video that he's putting out is possibly a danger. Do you really want to go to a country where you have to be afraid all the time that if you say something that you could get thrown in jail? That's not worth it. It's never worth having that. That's why I left China. With that being said, like, comment, subscribe. I love you all. Check out my Patreon and have a good day.